Hi, the purpose of this video is to go over my personal importing and editing workflow for images. I'm going to be using the paid version of Adobe Lightroom Classic. Shouldn't matter which edition you're running from a few years ago through the foreseeable future. This is just a workflow and I don't see any major changes coming that would affect this. I'm going to assume that you've watched my preset video and already created a preset for importing your pictures, because we're going to apply that preset to all of the images as we import them. As I mentioned, this is my personal workflow. This is what works for me. This is what helps me get through a lot of pictures really quickly. But there are many other workflows out there. Feel free to kind of pick and choose or adapt this as you develop your own workflow. All right, so now that you have your pictures taken, you want to go ahead and take your card and get that inserted into your computer. And within a couple seconds, Lightroom should pop up the import dialog menu. If it does not, you can always click on import over here to bring that menu up as well. So here you can see mine has come up. It's going to start reading all the images off the SD card and start caching them. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding some keywords. This just makes finding pictures later, down the road in the future a little easier. If you're looking for specific pictures, as you put keywords in, you can just search for those keywords. So for standard service pictures, I usually do CBC and Calvary Baptist Church. If it's a special event or a specific photo shoot, for say teen night or something like that, I might also put comma and then teen night. Whatever makes sense. It makes it easier for you to find. Your preview pane over here that loads all the images is going to look a little bit different than mine. I've already imported all these images, so it's already graying out the ones that it's already imported. Ignore that. I'm going to go back through the entire workflow with you. So up at the top here, we have a few different options. You have copy as DNG, which is the digital negative, copy, move, or add. This just tells Lightroom how do you want to bring the pictures into its catalog. Copy as DNG, what it'll do is it'll read the raw file that your camera produces, convert that raw file into a DNG, which is Adobe's semi-open source kind of format for images. It's supposed to be quote-unquote future-proof. You may find that your particular camera, as you convert from its raw format to DNG, may result in a smaller file size, which saves you hard drive space. My particular camera, it actually does the reverse. It causes the files to be larger than the native raw files, so I use copy, meaning I'm going to copy the files from the card to my hard drive. You could also use move. Move is going to move the pictures off of your SD card into a folder on your hard drive. And then add, we're not going to use that one. That one is special use case. That one's just going to add pictures to your library and not actually move them off of the SD card or somewhere else on your system. So now that we have our keywords done, I'm going to uncheck all photos because my personal workflow, I only import photos that I want to keep. I don't bother importing things I already know I'm going to throw away. So how do we determine that? We're going to go ahead and bring an image up large so it's easier to see. And we're going to use the right and left arrow keys and the backtick key. I'll show that in a little menu here. And the left and right is going to allow you to scroll back and forth between pictures. And that backtick key is just going to, since we've told it don't include any pictures, when you hit that backtick key, it's going to flip the bit to include that into import. You could also click down here, but keyboard shortcuts are going to speed up your workflow quite a bit. So I go through these pretty quick. This is not really a good picture, so I won't keep that one. That one's a little bit better. I don't like that one either. I was hoping this one was going to turn out well. I don't like the expressions on their face. This one's not too bad. We have some interaction and some, affection being shown here. So we'll go ahead and we'll include that one. Notice when I hit the backtick key that this checkbox changed. This one might be a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and import this one as well. You can see I've already imported it previously, so it's not going to allow me to do that. But I like this one a little bit better because we see some of the people's face. And we just kind of burn through these pretty quick. Like I would hit the back tick on this one to select this one for importing. I would also import this one. If you notice, we're kind of ruling out probably 70% of our pictures. We're not even going to, we're only going to import about 30%. This just, and I'm going to import multiple pictures of the same people just because I may need to flip back and forth between the two to figure out which one I like a little bit better once I've edited those pictures. That's a pretty good one. So I would import that one. This one, not so great. The person stepped in front of me and I started to get a little bit more of their shoulder. I could crop this to something, you know, usable there, but that gets pretty tight in on their face. So I'm not going to go through that one. So as you go through these pictures, some tips, and you'll need to apply some of these tips and suggestions as you take photos as well. We like to post smiling and happy people on the social media groups. So people interacting, you know, hugging each other, having emotional events with each other, smiling. It's not as useful to have, you know, somebody, if they're not smiling, posted on, you know, for example, on Facebook. We want to show that our church is a happy place and that people enjoy coming here. And yeah, they love our church. So try and make sure you get pictures of people interacting, having fun. Ideally, you want to get more pictures of people in the foyer or in the hallways. That's where you get a little bit more of natural kind of interactions out of people versus in the sanctuary here. We're going to get a few of these, you know, as part of the normal course of taking the photos, but in the foyer and the hallway, I think you get some better pictures of people more natural. Once you've gone through all your pictures and hit the back tick key to select which ones you want to import, remember to come up here and your develop settings. You're going to want to use that preset that you created. So there, I used Jake's default import. That's what we created in the previous video. And what this is going to do is those settings we created in that particular preset, it's going to apply them to all the pictures as we import them. Destination, this is just the way I have it set up. I organize my folders by date. This is the date format that I personally prefer. Adjust this as you see fit for your, I guess, your tastes. Once you've gone through all those, just go ahead and click on import, and Lightroom will start to go through and import all of the images that you selected for importation. And that'll take a few seconds. You should see a progress bar kind of go through as it imports. And once it's done, you can eject your card if you don't have it already checked. So like I have it checked right here, eject after import, so mine will automatically eject the SD card, allowing me to remove it from the computer. Let's go ahead and click on import, get your pictures in, and then we'll move over to just some quick editing. Okay, once editing is done, Lightroom should helpfully automatically put all these pictures into the previous import catalog here for you. Every time you import pictures, it's going to remove all the pictures from this, I guess, kind of mini catalog and put the new ones that you put in there. Your pictures will still be available in the date folder if you use the same one I do down here. This is just kind of a, I guess, kind of a meta category to show just the pictures from your last import. From here, we'll go through, and I like to rate with stars the pictures that I want to keep. So I'll double click and I'll bring them up a little bit bigger. I only use the number 1 to give it 1 star, or it gets 0 stars, one of the two. And as I go through, so I thought I was going to like that one, but the people ended up being kind of blurry. So it wasn't really a usable picture. Otherwise, I would have rated that one with 1 star. This one I did rate with 1 star, so if you hit the number 1 key, that gives it 1 star. As you can also click down here to do the same thing. And kind of go through your pictures and give them star ratings on the ones you want to keep and the ones you may want to edit a little bit more. It's okay to go ahead and do some editing now. For example, like this picture here, It's a little wide. There's a lot going on in this picture, so I would hit the R key to crop this, and I would crop in on what I'm trying to focus in on, and hit enter to apply that crop. And this gives you a much cleaner, much more decluttered picture to kind of work with. Notice over here that it did apply those settings that we imported, which, as I mentioned in the previous video, gets you about 80% of the way there. This one's not quite all the way there yet, so I would go ahead and I would bring some, I would increase the brightness a little bit more on this particular one. Probably this one was pretty dark, so I'd probably bring it up to about there. Still seeing a little bit of noise, so I would probably come back and just increase the denoising and the luminance a little bit. That cleaned it up here. Especially, I always look at facial kind of skin tones as far as cleaning that up. We really don't care about noise in the background. Nobody's really looking at that. They're looking at the faces in the picture. So once you've gone through and you've selected all of your pictures that have 1 star, we'll go back to the library tab here. We'll go back to the grid view. You can select to only show the pictures that you've given greater than or 1 star to. So this took us from 114 pictures down to, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, about 39 pictures, down from 114 with 1 star. So we've already knocked out another third of the images that we took, or 2/3. And we're only keeping 1/3 of those. And then from here, I would go through and I would start doing the real edits on the pictures. For like this one, if you notice, I cropped this one in. I guess some other keyboard shortcuts I probably forgot to mention. You could double click on this, which brings it up larger. If you hit the R key to crop it, or you hit the D key, D as in dog, for develop, it'll automatically bring you into the develop module. And then you can hit R to crop, or you can click on this icon up here. This will also allow you to crop it, focus it in a little bit more. And as you go through, you may need to adjust it. I brought the brightness up on this one, or the exposure up on this one a little bit more. I played around with a couple other settings to get what I consider a much more usable picture. The goal is to have a roughly, 34 to 40 pictures that we want to publish and turn in for use on social media. So as you go through and give them 1 star, you may find that you only 1-starred 20 of them, in which case, go back and, do a second pass. If you uncheck this box, this will bring all your pictures back. Go back through and see if there were some other pictures you may want to keep to kind of get closer to that 35-ish number. Or if you ended up with more than that, now's time to really become, super critical in the pictures you want to keep and those that you don't want to keep. Kind of go through and figure out, was this a good picture? Was there something going on in the background? Were their eyes closed? Something like that. Just become a little more critical in your pictures and determine which ones you want to filter back out to kind of get toward that close to 35 number. We'll go ahead and we'll bring this one back, this filter. So now I'm only showing the 1 stars that I'm going to publish. Once you're here, you can hit Control A or Command A on a Mac, and then we're going to export these pictures because these are the ones that we want to turn in. I've already created a preset called For Web. You're welcome to do your own preset. The only thing I'm going to recommend is we want to resize the long edge. So keep it as a JPEG, about 90% quality is fine. Resize to fit the long edge to 2048 or 2048 pixels. That's about a 2 megapixel picture. We don't need to necessarily enlarge it, so I wouldn't do that. Resolution, I have it at 96 here, but honestly 72 is sufficient. That's all computer monitors can display anyway, if I remember correctly. We'll go ahead and we'll check this box to sharpen for the screen, because that's what people will be viewing these on. And then once you're all done, click on Export. It should come up and it'll ask you, where do you want to export these photos to? This is when you would export it to a spot on your hard drive that you want to put the pictures in. make them easier to find when you go to upload them. Then once you're done, click on open and it should begin the export process. This will take a little bit of time, not hours or anything, but it'll take a few minutes to export all those pictures. Once all those pictures are done exporting, we will go into uploading those pictures.